Hello friends, my name is Emile and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 2. Today we are continuing on with our Let's Play. This is episode number 13. Now in the last episode we did the Wagon Cup. The reason we did the Wagon Cup is because I couldn't do the Historic Car Cup because I didn't have the right car for it. And I was running into a lot of GT40. However today, I do have the correct car for the event. I actually have the car that I wanted to use in that event. It is the Lotus Europa. I essentially went through, I actually looked on the internet at the prize car list. I only looked at how to get the Europa. It turns out you have to do the second race of the Historic Car Cup. So I've already done the second race and the first race, but I'll redo them in this episode because you guys obviously haven't seen them. Now, because of the way the Historic Car Cup works, there is a little bit of a glitch when it comes to the second race in the series. You see, in that race, a Ford GT40 shows up. However, the horsepower limit is only 295. The Ford GT has about 305 horsepower and is very, very OP. So essentially, I need to make this car as OP as possible. I actually really like that blue and white. I'm going to go with that. I am race modifying the Europa because I kind of fancy race modding a Lotus Europa because I think it'll look kind of cool, and it also will help out when it comes to the actual racing itself. The first race we won't have too many problems with. The next few races is when we start having issues. Right, we're going to get a Stage 2 Turbo. It may come back for Stage 3 later. The initial race is actually... Can we actually get intercooler on this? I highly doubt it. No, we cannot. Okay. The first race, the horsepower limit is 246. The next race is 295. I'm kind of hoping to upgrade the Europa to a point where, like, that won't be an issue. Like, I can only have this thing running about 230 horsepower, but it'd be actually quite OP, so it'll be fine. There we go, 230 horsepower there. I do want a little bit more from the Lotus Europa, so I'll try some port grinding. What does that bring us up to? 236. I think that's about right. I am going to put super softs on this, just because, again, the issue we've got is if the Ford GT does show up to the race where I don't want it to show up to, then I will get absolutely smashed. I was actually having issues using cars that weren't even historic. I was using the Subaru Forester to actually win this Europa, and it got absolutely dicked on by the Ford GT40. No, sorry, it's there. I had to end up using the Lotus Elan. But anyways, we go to our first race, which is at Tahiti Road. Okay, we are on track with the Lotus Europa, and we have in this race a Subaru 360, a Fiat 500R, another Lotus Europa. There is another Lotus Europa in front of that, I believe, and there is a 71 Skyline as well. So decent cars in this first race, but unfortunately they are no match for my Lotus Europa, which is insanely quick, and it will be. I mentioned it before in the actual... Sorry, I've got a... There, sorry about that, I just got a really bad itch all of a sudden, and yeah, that wasn't good. But anyways, I actually showed off in the last episode sort of why I didn't do the Historic Car Cup, and I actually ended up winning this event in the 82 Corvette, I believe, which was actually surprisingly easy to do in the 82 Corvette. It wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be, actually, that car. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's a pretty cheap car as well, the Corvette, so... I mean, that's something. This Europa, the reason I specifically wanted to use this Europa is because I really like the Europa, and it's one of those cars that I think actually might have a chance at beating the GT40, just because it's insanely light and it is insanely nice handling when it's on super soft. So yeah, I thought this thing might stand a chance at beating the pesky GT40, which we are all worried about. And hopefully it should do that. You know, best case scenario, the GT40 won't even show up to the next race. That'd be pretty cool if that happened, but yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I assume it's going to show up. But yeah, I really do like the Lotus Europa, actually. This is one of my favourite Lotuses. I like this model Europa. I also like the I believe it was like 06 Europa, the one that you don't hear anything about because it didn't review particularly well from what I remember. It was essentially just a heavier release, which was more meant for day-to-day use. If I was going to buy a Lotus in real life, to be honest with you, and it wasn't like a 90s Elan, if we're talking like you give me, I don't know, 25 grand and say, okay, go buy a Lotus, I would probably end up buying like a Europa, either this model Europa or an 06 Europa. I have seen one of these in real life. It was pretty beat up from what I remember. It was a black and gold one though, which was pretty cool. But yeah, that thing looks pretty beat up. I don't know what these retail for. I don't think it's all that much, to be honest with you. It's not as much as GT2 would have you believe, because these things are ridiculously expensive. Apparently the Fiat 500 is beating a 1971 Skyline. Yep. Okay. Okay, Gran Turismo, you do you, and I won't question it. Anyways, we win 7,000 credits, and we win a new car. Let's go and find out what it is. Okay, let's head over to the garage and see what we have won. We have got a Mugen CRX3. Yeah, because this is historic. It's so historic in every single conceivable way. It is pretty cool looking, granted, but it's definitely not a historic car. Is it GT2? Really? Anyways, let's head back. I keep wanting to skip up to lineup 3. We're not quite there yet. We're moving on to lineup 3 in the next episode. Anyways, our next race goes to the Rome City course, and this is the one I'm dreading. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so take 1.5 of this race. Hey, the GT40's decided not to show up for this race. So essentially, what happened is I got around the first corner and then I ended up spinning out in the second corner. So that wasn't fun. Anyway, in this race we've got a Lotus Europa, a Toyota 2000 GT, a Lancia Stratos, a Nissan Skyline 2000 GT, and a Datsun 240Z. Anyways, the GT40 has decided not to show up on this particular race, which is fantastic because, yeah, that means I can win. Yeah, the last race the GT40 did show up, and it even started on pole, which made it even harder for me. Yeah, I ended up spinning the car through there. I'm not quite sure how I managed to spin a Lotus Europa, but there you go, I did manage it somehow. Because, well, it's me driving, and what do you expect? Anyways, yeah, I really do like this Lotus Europa. It's very, very good to drive. I think it looks really nice too. It's a little bit of a weird car, but I think it's a good looking car. This is one of those cars that I definitely like to see added to more games, more specifically Forza Motorsport, because I believe this thing is in Gran Turismo 6. I'm fairly certain it is. In fact, I'm fairly certain it might be one of those detailed cockpit cars, which are so few and far between in that game. Which is pretty cool. Yeah, I really like this car an awful lot. And I don't know if I'd own one though, just because it's an old Lotus and there's reliability issues and all the rest of it. But I would certainly like to drive one. They don't have all that much horsepower. They only have about, well, this model has 130. I believe they made a model that had like 110 horsepower. But I mean, it's a Lotus, so it'll handle very, very nicely, and yeah, it'll be definitely an experience to drive, per se. The one thing I have noticed coming back to GT2 is the fact that all of the spoilers are basically see-through. This car's got like a massive gaping wing on it, which you can see from there, but when you're actually looking at the car from the back, you can't actually really see it. Like, the pixels just sort of black out a bit. It's a little bit weird. To be honest with you, everyone says like GT2 is a pretty terrible looking game, and yeah, by modern standards, obviously it is. To be honest with you, this game would actually look a lot better if the cars didn't have like the ridiculous amount of reflections they do. Like, if they had a little less reflections on them, honestly, like, this game would look much better than it does. But still, you know, I don't think it's that bad a looking game, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I definitely played worse looking games, especially from the PS1 era. To be fair though, most of the games I played on PS1 are late 90s games. Like, I didn't really play any of like the really early stuff, like here, your original Need for Speeds and Ridge Racer and so on. I've never played any of those. I'm not quite sure. I think the oldest racing game I played was Destruction Derby something. And that was a 95 game, I believe. There's a ton of PS1 games I could let's play at some point. And indeed do plan to, hopefully, at some point. But I think that one's further down the road. Anyway, the Datsun 240Z came in second, the Lancia Stratos in third, the Lotus Europa in fourth, Skyline 71 in fifth, and the 2000 GT came in sixth. It was 10 seconds behind everything else. That is a slow car, and it's also the colour of urine, which makes it even better. Anyways, we win 7 grand for that race, and we get a new car. Oh boy, I wonder what it is. Okay, let's head over to the garage and see what the car is. It is I know what it is. It's a Lotus Europa. Because, of course it is. Yay. It's actually the decent coloured one as well. Either way, we're going to sell it because don't need it, because I've got a Lotus Europa and it's the one I'm using. Anyways, we head back over to the special events tab and we head back to the Historic Car Cup for the final race, and I really don't know what the prize car is for this one, so yeah. Anyways, we head over to Grindelwald. Okay, take 2 of this race here at Grindelwald. I got a little fudged over by physics. Essentially, apparently don't go near the gates on this track because they can suck the front end of your car in and then spit you out. Either way, on this grid we have 2 Shelby Daytona coupes now, which I don't know if that's better than the previous grid I got, which had a Daytona and a GT40 in it. To be fair, I think this grid's probably a little bit better. I mean, the Daytonas I believe are quicker than the GT40, but through the corners they just can't sort of use the speed that I can. Essentially, this race here at Grindelwald is essentially me and my handling car. I've got to get as much advantage as I can through these corners, and yeah, so essentially do very well on the corners, so hopefully I can have enough room to I have enough room essentially to compensate for the fact that on the straights I can't really keep up. I do have a decent amount of power in this. I mean, 236 is quite a bit, and because this car's so light, that's like the only reason this is actually working, by the way. If I was in anything else, anything that weighed a bit more than this, then I would be absolutely... I would have probably been boned on the Rome race, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, as you can see, the Daytonas, they are a little bit more cautious through corners, and then their straight line speed will just kick in and obliterate me, so that's fun. It's always fun to get... Yeah, there you go. There's the straight line speed of the Daytona there. Use it to push me a little bit. He's gone into a wall, apparently. Brake into there. There we go. Yeah, right, I'm not going to touch the walls on this track. Again, like I said, they just completely throw me out if I even go remotely close to them, so I am going to avoid them at all costs, which is probably a good idea. Saying that, I didn't really avoid them at all costs there. I've got 2 big Daytonas on my rear end. This is not good. There we go. I don't class that as cheating. If you guys class that as cheating, then tell me down below. I just think that's cutting the corner quite nicely. I mean, that's what it's there for, right? This is a city circuit. No, not a city circuit, sorry. It is a road course, so I mean, I guess that sort of stuff is legal. A little bit slidier through there than I would have liked, but the Daytonas had to brake quite a lot. I think it's more just the Daytona's brakes aren't very good than them actually being able to keep up through here. I did hit that wall. That is a bit of an issue. Here comes the Daytonas. Here come the Daytonas. Here come the Daytonas. Just about. Those Daytonas are stupid quick. Anyway, yeah. That's the field. And that's what happened. I almost it's one of those situations where if the starting line was just a little bit closer, that could have gone horribly wrong. Either way, I win £8,000 and a new car. Let's go and find out what it is. Okay, let's head over to the garage and see what we have won. We have got a XYR, also known as a Toyota Celica concept car. Again, not retro, not historic, but still a pretty cool car. Either way, friends, that is it for today's episode of the Gran Turismo 2 Let's Play. I do hope you've enjoyed. Thank you all very much for watching. My name's been the Real Emile, and until next time, farewell.